Dun, 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 dun. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Whoops, hold on a second. Goodness. It was the phone. 10-4. Got it. Good, 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 good. All right, let's turn this down. And holy cow, all these text messages and messages I missed. Okay, we better keep those handy. Holy cow. What do we got here? Holy cow. This is great. This is great. This is good. Hello. Hello. Welcome. This is the pre-show of Streaming Idiots. And this is lemonade. Actually, it's a green cup. And hold on a second. There they are. 1 second. Got to go around the other side of the table. Yep. And if you were thinking, golly, am I ever going to be able to complete my collection? This one's green. That's why it looks black. Yeah. Woo. Am I ever going to be able to complete my collection of the Streaming Idiots meetup koozies? We got 2018. We got 2019. There was no 2020. There was no 2021. But there will be a 2022. So yeah, you can complete your collection with the notable gap in there. But that's going to be great. Jim is here. Hello, Jim. Welcome. Aziz, welcome. Welcome. You might have some questions. I guaranteed you're going to have some questions. Yes, indeed. Jim says, when are you going to start training on 25? Well, it had to be released first, Jim. And it was released last night. In fact, I think I popped into the vMix forum minutes after Martin Sinclair had announced in the vMix forum that version 25 had been released. And it was like, wow, this is cool. It was good timing. So that gave us, that pushed all today's subjects aside for vMix 25, although we do have 2 other good subjects that I want to talk about when the time is come. So yeah, hello, Otis. Howdy, y'all, from Texas. So training on 25, yeah, that's going to be interesting. I think what we'll probably do is put together, now that it's released officially and the feature set's pretty well locked in, I mean, even it was locked in before, but it's the kind of thing that until it's released, I mean, for example, the version that I'm running right now, the release version is 25.0.0.24. The previous beta, at least the last one I had, was .22. So there was a .23 in there somewhere. And then there was .24, which is the previous release. I mean, which is the official release. So yeah, Michael says, updating my beta to the release version just now. So yeah, I don't know what's new or different from 22 to 24. I'll have to go back in the forum and see if anybody's got any notes on that. So we'll just have to see. But 23's got some cool stuff in it. You know, it's one of those, every time vMix releases a new version, there's somebody out there that says, well, that doesn't help me. That's not for me. There's nothing for me in the new release. So, you know, if you don't use vMix Call or NDI or, you know, any of that stuff, then I'm sorry. But for a lot of people, this is going to be a really, really effective release. I was talking to somebody at a TV station this morning. We were talking about LiveLAN, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we can use that. Absolutely." So there you go. It would solve a lot of problems for them in terms of putting video, I think, out for display easily. All they need is a smart TV, and they've got, it might be a few seconds delay, 6 seconds, maybe 10, something like that. But if you're not in the same room, it doesn't make any difference. So yeah, pretty exciting stuff, vMix 25. We'll go through the feature list. And there's some news that I just saw this morning that I thought I'd share with you. And then updates on the vMix, the Streaming Idiots meetup at NAB. Just got word from Scott Whitney that he would let us use his new studio, the new Podworks studio. So they're going to be co-hosting our event, Streaming Idiots Meetup at NAB. And so if you're there planning to be at NAB, we want to make sure you're there on Monday night, the 25th, because that's when the meetup is. Traditionally, the meetup has been on the second night of the show. The show this year will start on Sunday instead of traditionally it had started on Monday. Actually, back in 2020, they were going to start it on Sunday. And then 21, they were going to start it on Sunday. So they've got this new plan that's now 3 years old. But that's okay. That's okay. Not a problem. So we'll just be glad to get everybody together and meet. Yeah, I've got some photos from some of the past meetups I'm going to show when we get to talk about that in the show. You might see yourself in the picture. Yeah, you might see yourself in the picture. So vMix 25 news, Streaming Idiots meetup, April 25th. I just realized it. April 25th, vMix 25. There you go. So come celebrate vMix 25 on April 25 at the Streaming Idiots meetup at NAB. Well, there you go. And if we have to move it to a different day, well, we do what we can. We do what we can. OG Gamer. OG Original Gangsta. Oops, got a message. I thought I'd turned all that stuff down. Let me see. Hold on here. Is it you texting me? Ah, he was on an airplane. That's why. Just started a live stream. I will call afterwards. There we go. Now let's turn that down. Oh, we didn't turn anything down. Okay, everything's turned down. There we go. Now we got it. There we got it. Tim is here. Welcome, Tim. Glad you're here. Glad you're here. Yes, indeedy. You're here. vMix 25 is here. And there may be something in there for everybody. 3 days old guy gamer is more appropriate. Yeah, really. Uh-oh. Michael's already found a bug. 24 breaks some transition timing in some GT pages I created. Oh, no. Interesting. We'll have to see if that happens here. Did you have problems with 22 or a previous version? Or did you notice? Had you been using a beta for production? I did. Since the moment it came out. I mean, that's the whole idea of this show. And they should have made the release version 25.0.0.25. Of course. Of course. But of course. Michael says, not critical for me. No problems previously. So you had been using the beta previously. And now something changed between 22 and 24. Well, as I will tell you, as I tell everybody that's troubleshooting, and I don't have to tell you this, but I'm gonna mention it for everybody else's benefit. When I set up a troubleshooting session with somebody, because they've tried everything they can think of before they call me, and I got like 3 or 4 basic rules before we can troubleshoot your system. Number 1, we want Windows to be up to date. Pure, plain, and simple. Make sure Windows is up to date. Make sure you've taken all the optional updates. Once you've updated and restarted your system, go back and check again. I had one client whose updates were so far out of date that we had to update him. That cycle of downloading, installing updates, restarting the system, downloading and installing updates. We did through that 7 times before it stopped finding new updates for his system. And of course, that fixed all his problems. All of his problems were gone with that. Why? Don't know. But I will say that vMix is sensitive to changes in Windows. vMix is not, to my knowledge, as of 2 days ago, vMix has not given the thumbs up to Windows 11. So we'll have to wait and see about that. Rudy, Jan, welcome. But, save yourself a lot of time if you're troubleshooting vMix or anything else for that matter. Number 1, make sure Windows is up to date. And then do it again. Happy 25th day. That's right. And also make sure your video card driver is up to date, especially if it's an NVIDIA, and make sure you don't have GeForce experience. I had somebody call me one day. It was a system we built for them, and the mouse was just crawling across the screen all by itself. And no matter where you put it, it would crawl across the screen. And we went through everything. This is way, way, way back when, before I was as wise as I am now. and it was really funny. I think finally what fixed it, I think they figured it out, not me, is that they updated the NVIDIA driver, the graphics card driver, and that made the mouse problem go away. Go figure. Go figure. So number 1, update Windows. Number 2, update the video card driver. If you have a capture card that is flaky, make sure that the capture card driver is the latest, greatest. We've had some occasions where where folks have had to update their BIOS because something had broken or gotten corrupted or somehow. So yeah, Joe to Max, welcome. The Max, what a cool name. And John, good to see you, John Maloney. Great. And by the way, John, we're doing great here. I'm not 100%, but as a walker, I'm 80%. As a runner, I'm not there yet. For those of you, I had a knee replacement done 7 weeks ago, and it's getting better and better every day. And I can't wait for NAB. I'm going to be ready. I just exercise bike, but I just biked 6 miles this morning. So I'm ready. Yep. Tommy Willis. Tommy's been using the beta for church. He updated last night. Woo, you may have been one of the first ones. Holy cow. Terrell Wright, welcome. Glad to have you. Yeah, I understand. When you don't have a choice about Windows 11, the latest BIOS and the mother's aimed to Windows had to replace the motherboard. Oh, golly. Gee. And Chris is here. Hey, Chris, how are things going in New Zealand? Are you guys getting healthy again down there? Joe says, anybody seen Andrew Cross? Yeah. Yeah. He jumped ship, shall we say. We'll get into that a little bit. John Lynn, generally keep your systems patched all the time. Or at least right before a show. I mean, if you're not up to date before a show, take 5 minutes before a really important gig and update Windows. Yeah. I'm teasing. Don't do that. Please don't do that. All right, DJ Vertigo with the new Mac Studio out. I'd love to know if anyone has tried vMix on an M1 Mac running boot camp and how it works. There you go. And Joe says very quickly, you can't boot camp. All right. Well, the little button here is turned green, so that means we got to get the show started. So sit tight. I'm pressing the pink button. Or is it purple? Whatever. All right. Woo! Welcome. I'm Tom Sinclair. This is Streaming Idiots, and today is kind of a 25 kind of day. 25 has always been one of my favorite numbers because it's a perfect square. 5 times 5 is 25. 25 cents in the U.S. is a quarter, and 4 of those will make $1. Adding things in 25s is really easy. 25, 50, 50, 75, 75, $1, 125. 5 has always been one of my favorite numbers because, 5 times 5, anything that you times 5 either ends in a 5 or a 0. It was an easy number to play with. So 25 is a favorite, and I'm just delighted to bring you 25 today. We've got 2 25s to talk about today. First off, I know you're thinking 25, but I'm thinking a different 25. Coming up on April 25th is the Streaming Idiots meetup at NAB. Yes, indeedy. And so a little flash from the past. Here is the crew of the Streaming Idiots meetup at NAB in 2017. This is the very first one we did. Do you see yourself in that picture? Oh my gosh. I see people I recognize. In fact, I recognize everybody in that picture. But that was the very first group we met at Scott Whitney's old podcast studio. Podworks. Let me get that right. His old Podworks studio. And we had, I don't know, what is that, 20 people there? It was pretty great. And then the next year, we went back to his studio, and we forgot to take the picture. Some people had already left by the time we took the picture. But this was the picture that we took for the 2018 meetup. Do you see yourself in that picture? Yeah, you might. And then we were so afraid that we were going to overrun his studio in 2019 that we shifted to the floor of NAB, and PTZ Optics was kind enough to host us there. And this is again, part of the crew for the NAB 2019 meetup. So we're hoping that you will come to the Streaming Idiots meetup at NAB 2022 on Monday, April 25th. It will be at Scott Whitney's new Podworks studio, which I don't have an address for. We don't have a firm time yet, but just block out the whole evening. It'll be worth it. It'll be all your streaming buddies from all over the U.S. and maybe some internationals. I've invited the vMix guys from Australia. I've invited the Bird Dog guys from Australia. If they let them out of the country, and if they're here, and if they don't do bad things while they're here, they'll get let back into their countries. But make a note. So April 25th, 25. Let's do it this way, 25. There we go. We got it right now. April 25th, 425 at NAB, Las Vegas. Joe DeMax wants to come. There you go. All right. Come on, Joe. There'll never be a better time. Well, anytime you can come is the best time. What year was the banana wearing guy? Tommy says. You'll have to ask Dave himself. It was Dave Edwards. And Dave Edwards ended up with a vMix Pro license, I think, because he wore a banana costume to the floor of NAB. What year was that? I think that was 2017. Tommy. And Joe has his plane tickets. He'll see us there. All right, come on. I'll be there all week. Don't forget to tip your waitress. No, actually, it's going to be an interesting show this year, NAB. And I promise we're going to get to vMix 25. But NAB is going to be hugely different. Number one, there won't be as many vendors as there typically are at the show. I think a lot of internationals have been kind of scared off a little bit. The Las Vegas Convention Center has taken this dip in attendance. In fact, they were closed down for quite a while to remodel the South Halls, upper and lower South Halls. And that's traditionally where, vMix has been, and a lot of other streamers like Xkeys and those kind of folks have been in the South Hall, and not this year. South Hall is closed, under renovation. Everybody's going to be moved to the North Hall and the Central Hall. And so we'll have the exact booth numbers for you as we get a little closer. If you go to your favorite streaming provider or streaming software or streaming hardware manufacturer's website, they probably will have their booth number on their page, and also have a link where you can get some free tickets. I think attendance is like $125 if you pay it. The first year I paid it. I didn't know, but you don't have to pay. So check the websites, and we'll have next week we'll have a whole list of all the different vendors that are giving away free passes. Now remember, if you're taking a free pass, don't take a free pass from everybody, because then you might be keeping somebody else from getting one. Because you may only get 5,000 free passes per company. So anyway. Yeah, Joe says he's going to be picking up the pieces of 2 years of unrelenting change too. So he's got a whole long list of things that he wants to see. Well, Joe, I would love to take you to lunch, maybe dinner, maybe both. I don't know. Anyway, make sure and block out Monday night for sure. Monday night for sure. There are going to be some great folks there, and there'll be some other riffraff like me, but there'll be some really great folks there. And the beauty of the meetup is not that it's going to be fine food and great beverages. It might, but it's not that it will be. Part of it will be that it's going to be at Scott's studio, and that's a big deal. That'll be nice. And my hope is, we haven't worked out all the details yet, but that we'll have a live stream of some kind. In the past, we've had live stream and interviews, and there are a lot of things up in the air this year, so I don't want to commit to anything like that yet. But we're going to have a live stream. We're going to give away prizes. We've got, I know, I've got a list here of people that have responded already. Let's see. PTZ Optics, Paul Richards says, Tom, awesome. I can give away some books, maybe 50 of the guides to NDI. Well, that's great. Let's see. Tess from PTZ Optics says we can give away a bunch of webcams. Let's say 10. Oh my gosh. Maggie at Xkeys says, yes, Tom, we're getting things together. We'd love to attend the party. We'd love to throw in some Xkeys as door prizes. I'll talk to the team and see which ones we would like to do. Oh my gosh. Oh golly. Well, I'm not going to even tell you what she says. Oh, and Maggie, if you're watching, or somebody tell Maggie later, I have created a prototype Xkeys that I'm going to bring to the Streaming Idiots meetup, and I'll probably have it NAB before that anyway. I don't know if y'all remember when I had the prototype NDI leash that I put Rooney, my Jack Russell Terrier, on. And so I've been inspired to make an Xkeys prototype that will come out at NAB. So if you think about it, remind me and I will show it to you. Not sure about production. I have to work with Xkeys on getting it into production, but it's a prototype, and if they like it, we may see about getting it into production. It's really inexpensive, I think. Tommy said his ankle bracelet would go off if he tried to attend. Well, that's okay, Tommy. Go ahead. It's Las Vegas. We won't tell. So So yeah, so we've got that to look forward to. I've also talked with the Streaming Idiots guys. Oh wait, that's me. I've talked to the vMix guys about a license or more than one license. I've asked the Bird Dog guys to come and contribute something. In the past, we've asked the sponsors to help underwrite the cost of the Streaming Idiots meetup. And that was getting pretty expensive. And somebody said, well, why don't you just charge people to come to it? And I said, I don't want to do that. That's like having a birthday party and then charging people to come. But that inspired me to think, well, why don't I just ask the vendors to bring a present for you? And we've had a pretty good year, a pretty couple of good years in the live streaming business. So we're just going to underwrite the cost ourselves. Again, hat tip to Scott Whitney, who's going to provide his studio to us and all sorts of other services, I'm hoping. And we'll just have to see where it all works out. If you'd like to make a contribution, that's great. But at this point, I don't think we need it. I'll let you know if that's the case. So that's, again, Monday. Oh, you know what? There's supposed to be a new transition here. Let's try it. It's called the barn door. That didn't look like much, did it? Oh, well, you have to press the button. Let's try that one. There we go. There we go. All right. So the Streaming Idiots meetup at NAB, that's the barn door transition. And we also have the roller door transition. We'll try that one. There you go. All right. So if you're into transitions, there are two more for you. Why? Just because. Just because. All right. So now let's talk about one of my favorite subjects. Oh, heck. Let's see. Let's add input. Should have done this earlier, Tom. Let's do. We'll do that one. And we'll do a barn door. And a roller door. Yes. vMix 25 is here. vMix 25. vMix 25. What in the world are we going to do with a vMix 25? Well, we could do. What is the significance of vMix 25? vMix 25 is significant because it has a little something in it for everybody. Most everybody. Let me pull up my list here. Hold on a second. We need to go to just vmix.com. We'll just cheat. Download a free trial. I've already done that. Release notes. Here we go. So we've got LiveLAN. LiveLAN, very quickly, is the ability for you or me to live stream on our own local area network to anything on the network that supports a browser. That can be your phone, it can be a smart TV, it can be another computer, and with the, I think it ends up being the IP address of the streaming machine, and the port, which is probably 8090 or something like that. I'll have to check. And then /LiveLAN. With an address like that, you can watch the live stream. Only supports one stream, but it's cool because it says can be viewed by most modern browsers and devices, including laptops, PCs, smartphones, and smart TVs that support HTML5 live streaming. So there you go. That's pretty cool. I can't wait to try that at schools and churches and places that have networks and need to be able to distribute video easily and free. Yeah, free. You don't have to have any high level of vMix. Doesn't take Pro or X or 4K or anything like that. Everybody gets this one. You have 16 more categories. They've tripled the number of categories. Why did they do 16? They should have done 25. I mean, come on, guys, you're missing these opportunities. But the extra 16 categories, you can change the colors on. Can you change the colors on the original ones? Let's go back and check. No, I cannot change the colors on the original ones, but I have 16 new categories that I can make any color. Now, I wish I could do gradients or, lines or patterns or images. And I also wish I could do emojis or icons. instead of text. But, you know, maybe that'll come. So, but anyway, so you've got your own, a new name and a color. I've got the original 8, and then I'm using 1, 2, 3, 4 new ones. So I'm only using 12. But hey, I couldn't use 12 before. vMix has added support for the latest AJA capture devices, including the TTAP Pro, the Corvid 4412G, and the IOX3. For those of you in the AJA world, that might be beneficial. Here's a biggie, and this is the ability to consolidate all of your assets, your vMix assets, consolidate all of your assets in a zip file so that you can send it to somebody else or put it on a different system and have your preset and your settings and your videos and your audios and your lower thirds and all of that in one file. So very cool. It's called a vMixZip file. But, you know, it only vMix, it's proprietary format, so you can only have vMix to use it. In addition to that, when you load a preset, if there are files that are missing, you know, before it used to just bring up a Windows Explorer page and ask you, you know, what do you want to do? Here's the file name, go find it. Well, now it'll bring up the whole list, and then it just highlights the ones that it can't find. So you can deal with that so much more quickly. You can uncheck them. You can just go with it, and it'll bring them those inputs up as offline. Happened to me this morning. I had 4 or 5 photos that were on my desktop from last week's show that I deleted, but I didn't take them out of my preset. And so when I brought up the preset today, it said, "Hey, you want us to locate these files that you're missing?" I'm like, I didn't even know I was missing files, but I did really. That's not the big deal. Here's one that you'll never notice. vMix now implements NDI5. Well, the latest version of NDI5 is incorporated into vMix. As NDI updates version 5, vMix will continue to update that. It probably doesn't mean anything to you because it probably is not going to change your workflow. It's probably not going to give you, it's not going to give you anything that you couldn't do before. But NDI5 has kind of busted the boundaries of the local area network. And so go do your homework on NDI5 and know that vMix supports you in that. Here's one that I don't understand. This is a new feature in vMix 25. In fact, they just announced it like 10 days ago or something like that. It's called an output input. A what? I mean, is it bad enough that vMix has multiple uses for the word output that we now have an output input? Oh my Lord. Basically, it allows you to take the program output and make it as an input. So let's try it here. So we'll try it. Let's try it. Let's do a desktop capture. So we'll add an input. Local desktop capture. We'll just take the full display. Am I getting the right display? Yeah, here we go. So we're going to take this one and we'll bring it up there. So you can see all my work right there. And we're going to go add input. And let's see where it is. And this is an output input. Can we do that? Is it right there? Where is it? Oh, you know what? They may have hidden it. Let's see. What if we do here? There it is. Output. Right next to mix. So we're going to do an output input. And there it is. There's the output right there. You can see it because it's like infinity. So there's an output input. All right. Very good. Now the output input shows c'est moi. So you'll just have to, let's say it says this is handy for situations where the source is needed for outputs 2 through 4 or for a vMix call, but with the program's feed still showing as a picture-in-picture. Got that? We'll have to think that one through. We'll talk about that some more in the future. The object colors in GT titles can now be edited in vMix as well as through the API and data sources. So basically you can change the colors of backgrounds and boxes and other things that were created in vMix GT Title Designer. You can change those in the title input in vMix. That's going to be pretty cool. vMix also only supports 64-bit versions of Windows now, has a new virtual set, has new activators, has new shortcuts, has the ability to turn off NDI thumbnails. So if you're using lots of NDI sources on your network, you can turn off the automatically generated thumbnails, and that'll speed things up a little bit. It's added keyframe interval adjustments, support for SRT outputs. Multi-quarter now hides unsupported inputs by default. Well, that's cool. Has an improved tally light support. As we already know, it's incorporated the barn door and the roller door transitions. And video delay inputs now default to using vMix video codec as the save format, as it's the most efficient option. And then the last feature, one of my favorite features, the last feature in vMix 25.0.0.24 is various bug fixes. Actually, it says various replay bug fixes, but we want various bug fixes. We always want tweaking under the hood. We always want continual, maybe just small percentage improvement. I don't want 50% improvement in vMix. I just want 1% improvement every time. Every time. Let's get a little bit better every time. A little bit better every time. vMix 25. Where can you get vMix 25? You can go to vmix.com. Do we dare bring that up as a web browser? www.vmix.com. Will it work if we just do it like that? Sure, why not? Take a second to populate, and there it is. And then we'll go to download free trial. And then there it is. We download it right there. If you want to know about it, we can scroll down a little bit. And you can see those are the notes that I just read. The desktop capture, as you see, is still version 23.0.0.4. We might see a change in that, not sure. But that's where you get vMix 25 right there. Even if, I know it says, well, I know on the first page, it said download free trial, but that's where I always go. And that takes you just to the download page. So you can download vMix, and that takes you here. And here's important. Existing customers who purchased prior to January 1st, 2020, you can check the latest available version. And when you click that, you can put in your registration key, and it'll tell you if you need to do that or not. We got the ability. Let's go back. There we go. But the other part I want to show you, and let's go back to the home page, is right up here at the top, vMix account. Do you see that button change in color? That's the button I want to bring your attention to, vMix account, because a lot of people don't realize when they get a vMix license that they need to register their license with vMix. They never read the fine print. If you buy your license from us at Eastern Shore Broadcasting, which you can, is the same price as from vMix, plus you get personal support. But if you buy your license from us, the email that you get with your license tells you to go to the vMix account page right here and log in with your registration key. Whoops, let's see. Let's enable my keyboard. So I'd put in my registration key right there, and I would log in. Now, of course, gobbledygook is not a good login. But if I log in with that, then it brings up a page that allows me to assign that key to my email address. And in fact, I can block out logging in using just the registration key, and I would have to log in using my email address. That way, if somebody steals your key, you can block them from changing it by assigning it to your email, and that's the only way you can get into this account. The other things to know are that the vMix license says that you can use your vMix license key on 2 different computers with the understanding that they're not used simultaneously, i.e. a primary and a backup. But what we find sometimes is people will upgrade. They'll have 2 computers and they'll have a vMix license on both of them, but they'll upgrade one of them. You know, maybe some new RAM, maybe they've upgraded to Windows 11. Don't do that. Windows 11. Maybe the motherboard broke and they had to upgrade to a new motherboard. vMix sees that as a new computer. So if you've already got 2 computers over here on the account page, oops, there we are on the account page, then you this new computer would be the 3rd, and vMix will reject it and say, sorry, you've already used your 2 licenses. So you have to go to this account page, you have to log into your account, and you have to go in and actually remove one of the 2 computers, or you can remove both of them if you want to, one of the 2 computers that's on that page, so that you can then activate your license on the computer that you want to be activating your license on, but couldn't. Michael Graves says, I have 1 license on both my desktop and laptop, no issues. That's good. That's good. I have a couple licenses. I don't know which ones are on which computers. I should, and I shuffle them around as I need to. So it's, yeah. I'm not do as I say, not as I do. But yeah, so if you have a chance sometime, go into vMix, go to the settings page, go to the the settings tab, go to the about page at the very bottom of, about is at the bottom of the list, and copy your license key and take it and put it in this vMix account page and see what your account says. You might find that your account is assigned to a different email address than yours. Might be assigned to my email address if you bought it from me and never went in and reassigned it to yourself. And then make sure you've got everything signed up. If you want to have access only through the email, you need to set that up on that account and then see which computers that are listed there. At one point years ago, vMix didn't really enforce the 2 computer limit. At least they didn't with me. Maybe they didn't with anybody. And I logged in on one of my vMix license keys, and I had 6 computers on there. I was like, oh my gosh, 6 computers. So yeah. We'll talk more about vMix 25 in the weeks to come, and April 25, the vMix Fun Time live show. But one last piece of news before we leave here. Joe was asking about, what was Joe asking about? About Andrew Cross, Dr. Andrew Cross, the former president of, was he president or CEO of TriCaster, NewTek? I don't remember. And then NewTek merged with VizRT, and he became the chairman of R&D or technology or something like that. Well, anyway, he has been lured out of VizRT NewTek to Grass Valley, and so he is now the new CEO at Grass Valley. If you're not familiar with Grass Valley is hardware switchers, big iron. And so this is going to be a sea change at Grass Valley, or it indicates there has been a major change at Grass Valley, that they're moving more towards software. So if you're wondering, if you're from the old hardware switchers, software switchers, we're going to battle it to the death. This gives us an idea of who's winning that battle when Grass Valley makes their CEO one of the preeminent software switcher gurus in the world. Yeah. Joe says, CEO of NewTek, then president of R&D at VizRT. Thank you. Thank you, Terrell. Glad you could be here. So, yeah. Oh, and Aziz says, on the 1st of April, vMix will be for free. That's a great idea. That's a great idea. Anyway, so the idea is that that Grass Valley is going to move into the software world with switching, probably a hybrid, probably more of a hardware software marriage, you know, where something like NDI is created within the Grass Valley system so that they can move hardware, software, video around the system. We'll see. We'll see. If you see Dr. Cross at NAB, you may want to ask him about that. I suspect that's going to be a pretty big deal. Pretty big deal. Go to the Grass Valley booth and tell Andrew I sent you. Yes. All right. Well, guys, let's move into the post show. So glad that you could join us for the show. If you have to leave now, unlike the vMix Fun Time, or unlike other shows, you can come back and watch the post show later, even after it's over. You can watch the pre-show later after this show is over. And you can watch the show later after this show is over. We don't discriminate against those that arrive early or leave late. We provide you with the entire content. All three of you. No, teasing. We'll be right back with the post show. And we are in the post show. All right. So Joe says that the old guard is rattled by Dr. Andrew Cross becoming the CEO of Grass Valley. I think Grass Valley is rattled. Grass Valley is either trying to, well, why do you make a change like that? You make a change like that for one reason. People can call it whatever they want to, but the one reason I see is, can anybody name it? What's the number one reason why people make a change like that? In the chat. Here we go. Put down the number one reason why companies make major changes, major directional changes to their leadership. Let's see. Has anybody got it? Oh, Michael's not big on spelling, but that's okay. He's from Texas. We know about those Texans. You know, they get the idea out there. The spelling doesn't have to be perfect. Yeah, now he's got it. There you go. That's right. Like the former governor of the great state of Texas, former president of the United States, George W. Bush, used to make up his own words. Joe DeMax, I think you are furthest from the truth. Jim says money. I think that's part of the answer. Notice I'm ignoring Michael for the moment. I think money is part of it. I think money plays into the answer. Jeep and Dave says progress. I think that plays into the answer. Chris is technical, IP workflow. Yes, I think that plays into the answer too. Stock market. Oh, bad income. Maybe. I'll tell you. I'll give you just another second because sometimes it takes a while for these to pop up. So let's see. We got this one, and then we got this one, and then we got this one, and then we got this one, and this one, which is a good answer, and this one, which is another good answer. And this one, if you've never met Marie in person, she's lovely. Lovely personality, lovely lady. Jan, how in the world did you ever land a woman like that? Holy cow. I'll tell you what I think the answer is, since nobody else is responding. And since you were just perched on the edge of your seat, all three of you. I think the answer is fear. That Grass Valley is afraid they're going to get left behind. Whether or not their P&L, their bottom line, shows it or not, they realize if they're going to make it to the next decade, they have got to embrace this, what is now not a new wave. I mean, NDI was introduced. Can anybody name the year at NAB that NDI was introduced? Can anybody name the year that NDI was introduced at NAB? The year. The year. Couldn't agree more, Joe. By the way, Joe spelled it right. He just hit the wrong key. Give him a break, Tom. What year was NDI released at NAB? Oh, finally getting some answers. Cheap and Day says 2014. No. John says, party time. No. Joe says 2015. Ooh, closest answer. 2016. 2016 at NAB. And I remember because they were introducing it. Martin Sinclair at vMix had been having thoughts of doing the same thing himself, and he reached out to, this is the way the story goes, it may not be right. He reached out to Dr. Andrew Cross and said, hey, I'm working on this. What do you think about this? And Dr. Andrew Cross said, I really can't tell you a whole lot now, but don't spend a whole lot of time working on that. Just come to NAB. And they did. And I remember that was the year that the vMix guys had actually asked me to come and do the Streaming Idiot show at their set, because they had a big green screen set that year. And right after the show, Martin was my guest, and I guess he was my host too. And he, right after the show, he pops off the set, and I look over in the shadows, and he's over there hobnobbing with Dr. Cross. So they were, and of course, that was the time when vMix vMix was the first one to announce integration of NDI into vMix, as NewTek announced the creation of NDI. vMix was the first product of any kind on the market other than the TriCaster that could use NDI. Yeah. Boy, that is a fact. You ask the Bird Dog guys that, Jan, and they will tell you they agree 100%. They have suffered production problems. Now, they're not making big switchers like Grass Valley, but the parts that they are making, they want to make a lot of them, and they're having those kind of hardware problems. Yep. That is correct. It was internal. I don't think they called it NDI. I forget what they called it. You mean both of them, Joe? Yeah, there's another software switcher that is notorious for being slow to adopt things. Yeah. Agreed on that one, Jan. Well, here we go. There's a Bird Dog shout out from Bird Dog John. Welcome, sir. Glad to have you. Cool guy if you ever get a chance to hang out. John, are you going to be at NAB? There's the question. Are you going to be at NAB? Are you going to be at the Bird Dog booth at NAB? Are you going to be at the Streaming Idiots meetup at NAB? No way. You're kidding me. How do you know this? I don't believe you. I think you're pulling my leg. Not talking to you, John. John will be there in person. Good deal. Monday night, April 25th. Keep that free. Dan and Eamon have already gotten their invitation. So yeah. So John went to the Michael Graves School of Spelling. Before it was NDI, it was called AirSend. It worked with TC, 3Play, Live Text, and a handful of other three-party apps. Well, there you go. No problem. No problem. You're just not alone. You're just not alone. There are other people that suffer from the same challenges in life, shall we say. So Maria's got a thought-provoking question. I wonder how much of the new YouTuber TikTok craze is driving video editing. Did you notice that? You probably didn't. It is the YouTube short, right? Okay, YouTube shorts. You know who had a YouTube short a week ago, 10 days ago? Do you know who the answer to that was? I'll let you post it in chat. Tim says there was a Fincast streaming software. Never heard of it. Fincast, is that something for the fishing industry? Michael Graves. He's had a stelling problem. It's been known that the porn industry has set the standards for VHS and DVD instead of Betamax. Yeah, I believe the porn industry also, not to give them, props, but really has been responsible for a lot of the work done in reducing the hardware requirements and the file size of streamed video. Because, they got trillions of servers with all this video on it, and they want to reduce the amount of bandwidth they take whenever they serve it. So, yeah. So, Fincast does not make the Joe DeMax list of approved software switchers. I never heard of it. But the list of software switchers that I have is, well, I guess it's probably greater now. There have been at least 5 vMix clones that I can tell you about. And I can remember, who was it that was... it was started out being Mogulus and ended up being Livestream. That's who it was. And that really, I thought, had a lot of promise. You could switch cameras, but it was all in the cloud, I think. I don't remember. I don't think it was Next Edition. Mogulus. Anyway. It's interesting for this industry to have, the live streaming industry that is, to have enough history now that we can look back and say, oh, yes, back in the olden days, 8 years ago. Tim, I assure you that 90% of the people that are watching this broadcast right now could say something similar. Because I could say, I bought XYZ before I discovered vMix. That's true. That's true. In fact, back in the day, Joe DeMax and Stephen Haywood and I would have, I won't say they were arguments because they routinely slaughtered me, but we would have debates about what online software switcher was better. And Joe and I both ended up in the same place. Well, Tommy, if that's the case, then if you went all the way back to the beginning, then we were doing different stuff back then. That they do, Michael. Yeah, they do. What is she saying? That's interesting. That's interesting. That's interesting too. But when you think about it, Jan, when you think about who vMix is, they don't want to rule the world. And in fact, in some ways, they have put themselves forth in a way that ensures that they will never rule the world. More on that later. Wirecast 2004. Really? Interesting. VidBlaster Guy. Does that ring a bell to any of you? I don't know. Yes, didn't Wirecast come out of the UK, Joe? Isn't that where it was created? A couple of guys created it there, sold it to Telestream, where it languished. Joe, I think Tommy's talking about somebody else. And this is the universal comment. Indeed. I agree. I'm not sure I understand, but if you said it, I probably agree with it. And I definitely agree with that. I definitely agree with that. Yep. Yep. And this is an interesting comment because I've had flat out arguments. Well, we didn't throw anything, but I've had disagreements, gentlemen's disagreements with the vMix guys over how they price their product. Because I think it's hugely undervalued for what's in it. And they don't care. They want it to reach as many people as possible, and they did not want cost I mean, within reason. They didn't want cost to be a preventative. Yeah. And welcome. Is it Cinco? Glad to have you from the Netherlands. Yes, indeed. I miss the Netherlands. We were there in 2019, I think, for IBC. And Jan, that is what we call the Walmart approach. Rather sell 200 million of them and make just a little bit. Yep. And, you know, I'm kind of perched in the middle of that world, because the product that I produce incorporates vMix and incorporates hardware and is then sold as a solution, where the price of vMix is actually almost inconsequential. Marie, the couch and a blanket. If he gets too bad, just tell him he's got to sleep on the couch, and here's the blanket. And that is what happened in 2020 to vMix. They got slammed. All of a sudden, their sales quintupled. I don't know, maybe went up by a factor of 10, and they just got crushed. You know, if you're used to getting 100 emails a day, which is huge, and all of a sudden you start getting 1,000 emails a day, can't have it. Yep, I agree. Yeah, John knows about that. Talking about high volume sales is fine if you can live with the support requirement. Poor John, what was it? Bird Dog came out with like 12 new products in 1 year. So you've got to get proficient in all of those in time to support them. Well, there you go, Tommy. Oh, that's what we're going to do next week. I forgot. We're going to give away some, I meant to mention that earlier. I'm sorry if you're still hanging around. I mean, if you're still hanging around, you get to know this, but if you're not, then you missed out. Next week, we're going to give away 5 vMix upgrades. It's only $60. And if you've already got an upgrade, then we'll give you $60 credit in our store that you can go spend however you want to. And if you don't win one of the 5, I can't do 25, but we'll make it 5, because 5 times 5 is 25. But if you win if you don't win one of the 5 free vMix upgrades, but you still need to upgrade your license, because you can't use 25 until you upgrade your license. Update. Upgrade would be to move from the HD package to the Pro package or something like that. But update is basically just to make sure you can get all the new updates for version 25. And if you're stuck back on, version 22 or something like that, and you want to kind of jump up to version 25, then you need to get an update. Updates are $60, but we're going to give you $6 off. So they're only going to be $54. I'd love to make it 25, but I can't do that. Can't give you $25 off, or can't do that. Next time, maybe. Not this time. Next time, maybe. So yeah, Joe DeMax has got to run, but he wants some catch up soon. So yeah, let's do that. In fact, we need to get Joe on the show and talk about what's going on with central control. So we'll do that. Yep. And Michael knows all about what is it? This one right here. Yeah. Drinking from the fire hose. Okay. Okay. Oh, here's we'll close out with this comment because I got to run. I got work to do. I can't hang out with you guys all day. Good deal. Good deal. Now, vMix 25, you can get it at vmix.com. If you can't wait till next week to see if you can win a license or to see if you can get a discount on a license, you can get a license at the vMix store. Actually, you can get it at our store at easternshorebroadcasting.com. Same price. The April 25 is the vMix Funtime live show. No. Is the Streaming Idiots meetup. It's one of those blah, 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 blah. It's a Streaming Idiots meetup at NAB 2022 at Scott Whitney's new podcast studio. They're going to be Podworks Studio. They're going to be, gee whiz. Shall I start the whole thing again? No. April 25th, Streaming Idiots meetup at NAB podcast studio. New one from Scott Whitney. They're co-hosting. And we'll have an address and a time for you there, but it will be it will be good. It will be worth it. So if you're in the U.S., if you're going to be in Las Vegas for Monday, April 25th, make plans that night to come be with me and 1,000 of my best friends. It'll be worth it. It'll be worth it. Got to run. Love hanging out with you guys. It's one of my favorite things to do in all the things I do. But yeah, we got to fade. Let's do a roller door. You ready for a roller door?